The hidden files on Princess Diana's death. What the royal family doesn't want you to see. Princess Diana's death wasn't just a tragic accident. That's the story we've all been told. But what if it's not the whole truth? There are secret files, unanswered questions, and evidence that was never shared with the public. Why were some witnesses silenced? What information is the royal family keeping from us? And why do so many details of that tragic night just not add up? This isn't just about a car crash. It's about secrets, power, and the lengths people will go to protect them. In this video, we'll uncover the hidden clues and the untold truths about Princess Diana's death that the royal family doesn't want you to see. Evidence, unanswered questions, and shocking facts about that night Princess Diana died. Stay with us to the end of this video. What we found might completely change how you see Princess Diana's death. Number 1. The Paget Report. The Paget Report was created to provide clarity about what really happened the night Princess Diana died in Paris. Released in 2007, it was an official investigation conducted by British authorities to examine the causes of the crash. The report aimed to dismiss the various conspiracy theories that had circulated since Princess Diana's death. However, critics quickly noted that certain key details were left out when the report was first made public. For example, questions arose about why parts of the report regarding Princess Diana's medical treatment were not fully disclosed. Her condition and the decisions made during those critical moments were mentioned only briefly, leaving many to speculate about whether something was being hidden. Another major issue revolved around the driver, Henri Paul. The report claimed he was drunk, but some experts have questioned the evidence, pointing out inconsistencies in the methods used to test his blood alcohol level. This lack of transparency left the public skeptical, with many asking whether the report's true purpose was to provide answers or to create more confusion and deflect attention from unanswered questions. Number 2. The Lord Justice Scott Baker's inquest. The inquest led by Lord Justice Scott Baker between 2007 and 2008 brought new information to light about Princess Diana's death. Unlike the Paget Report, this inquest involved testimonies from 250 witnesses, including emergency responders, close royal staff, and investigators who examined the crash scene. These testimonies provided details that had not been discussed before, such as how aggressively the paparazzi chased Princess Diana's car, and possible lapses in the official investigation. One particularly shocking detail came from Princess Diana's own words. She'd written a letter to her butler, Paul Burrell, stating she believed King Charles was plotting an accident to clear the way for his remarriage. This raised serious questions about her fears and whether her death might have been planned. Yet despite these revelations, the inquest ultimately concluded that the deaths were the result of negligence by both the driver, Henri Paul, and the pursuing paparazzi. Critics believe the inquest missed crucial elements, such as allegations of involvement by intelligence agencies. Many testimonies suggesting a cover-up were reportedly downplayed. Even though the inquest called the deaths unlawful killing, it left many feeling that the full truth remained hidden just out of reach. Number 3. The Henri Paul blood sample. Henri Paul, the driver of Princess Diana's car, was accused of being drunk at the time of the crash, with reports claiming his blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. However, many experts have raised doubts about this conclusion. One significant issue is a mismatch in Henri Paul's blood sample. The blood type reportedly taken from him after the crash does not match his official medical records, raising concerns about whether the sample was his at all. Some believe the blood may have been swapped or tampered with, while others suggest it could be a simple clerical error. Complicating matters further, those who knew Henri Paul, including his colleagues, described him as a responsible and professional driver who couldn't have been reckless. If the blood sample wasn't Paul's, then the claim that he was drunk at the time of the crash falls apart. This raises bigger questions. Was Henri Paul really at fault, or was he made into a scapegoat? These doubts have added to public suspicions of a cover-up, leaving the official narrative of the crash on shaky ground. Number 4. The white Fiat Uno. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Princess Diana's crash is the involvement of a white Fiat Uno. Witnesses at the scene reported seeing this car speeding away from the tunnel just after the crash. Paint marks found on the wreckage of Princess Diana's Mercedes matched those of a Fiat Uno, suggesting that the two vehicles collided. Despite extensive efforts to locate a car and its driver, neither was ever found. This has led to widespread speculation about the vehicle's role in the crash. The mystery deepened when it was revealed that a photographer with links to intelligence agencies owned a similar car. Strangely, this individual later died under suspicious circumstances, adding to theories that the Fiat Uno might have been deliberately involved in the crash. Many believe this vehicle could hold the key to understanding what really happened in the tunnel that night. However, investigators seem to downplay its significance, leaving a critical piece of the puzzle unresolved. To this day, people wonder why the Fiat Uno was never found and whether its role was accidental or part of something more sinister. Number 5. The paparazzi chase. The role of the paparazzi in Princess Diana's death is one of the most well-known aspects of the tragedy. Photographers on motorbikes were chasing Princess Diana's car at high speeds, desperate to get photos of her and Dodi El-Fayed. But there are deeper questions about how this pursuit unfolded. Witnesses claimed the chase appeared unusually coordinated, almost as if the photographers knew the car's exact route in advance. This has raised suspicions that someone tipped them off about Princess Diana's movements that night. Adding to the controversy, several paparazzi present at the scene were never fully questioned or held accountable. Some even claimed they were pressured to avoid speaking out. The idea that this was more than just an unrecognized pursuit has led to theories that the paparazzi's actions might have been orchestrated. Whether by chance or design, their pursuit created a dangerous situation that ultimately contributed to the crash. While the paparazzi have faced criticism, many believe their role in the events of that night had not been fully investigated, leaving lingering doubts about their true involvement. Number 6. The seatbelt controversy. One of the most confounding aspects of the tragic crash that claimed Princess Diana's life is the seatbelt issue. Both Princess Diana and her companion Dodi Fayed were reportedly not wearing seatbelts at the time of the accident, a fact that seemed out of character for Princess Diana. Friends and close associates of the princess have consistently stated that she was meticulous about always wearing her seatbelt, even for the shortest journeys. This raised the question, why wasn't she buckled in on the night of the crash? To make matters even more puzzling, the seatbelt on Princess Diana's side of the car was later found to be malfunctioning. This details led some to speculate whether it was a mere coincidence or if the seatbelt had been deliberately tampered with. Experts in automotive safety have pointed out that if Princess Diana had been wearing a functioning seatbelt, her injuries might not have been fatal. This seemingly minor detail, a broken seatbelt, adds a deeply unsettling layer to the mystery surrounding her death, prompting questions about negligence or even foul play. Number 7. The tunnels and cameras. The Pont tunnel in Paris, the site of the crash, is typically surrounded by surveillance cameras, as it's located in a busy and prominent area of the city. Yet on the night of Princess Diana's fatal accident, none of the cameras in the tunnel were operational. This glaring absence of surveillance footage has fueled countless conspiracy theories. In a city as heavily monitored as Paris, the idea that such a high-profile area could be devoid of working cameras is unusual, to say the least. Working surveillance should have provided crucial insights into the circumstances of the crash, including the speed of the car, the behavior of other vehicles, and any unusual activity leading up to the accident. The lack of footage creates a significant gap in the timeline of events and raises questions about whether this was simply a technical failure or a deliberate act to conceal critical evidence. The absence of surveillance adds another layer of ambiguity to an already enigmatic event, leaving investigators and the public with more questions than answers. Number 8. The ambulance delay. Another controversial element of the night Princess Diana died is the delay in getting her to the hospital. Despite the crash occurring just a few minutes away from the nearest emergency room, the ambulance carrying Princess Diana took over an hour to reach the hospital. Emergency medical services claimed that her condition required stabilization before transport, but critics argued that this delay may have significantly reduced her chances of survival. Instead of heading directly to the hospital, the ambulance reportedly took a circuitous route through Paris. This unusual decision has led some to speculate about whether the delay was intentional. Could it have been an effort to ensure she wouldn't survive? If so, who would have given such an order and why? This aspect of the case has been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate, with experts and conspiracy theorists alike questioning the actions and motivations of the emergency medical team. The delay remains one of the most contentious aspects of the tragic night, further deepening the mystery surrounding Princess Diana's death. Number 9. The hospital cover-up. Once Princess Diana was admitted to the hospital, the treatment she received has been shrouded in secrecy and controversy. Some medical professionals have questioned the decisions made during her care, including the choice to perform certain procedures and the level of urgency applied. There are whispers of mistakes being made during her treatment and efforts to cover up these errors to protect reputations. More sinister theories suggest that Princess Diana's death may have been hastened by those who wanted to ensure she did not survive the crash. Although there's no definitive evidence to support these claims, the secrecy surrounding her final moments has only added to the speculation. The French authorities have been criticized for their lack of transparency, which has led to accusations of a cover-up. This lack of clarity has left many wondering whether Princess Diana's death was truly accidental or if more sinister forces were at play. The unanswered questions surrounding her hospital treatment continue to haunt those who seek the truth. Number 10. The royal family's involvement. Among the most provocative theories surrounding Princess Diana's death is the suggestion that members of the British royal family were involved. Princess Diana herself reportedly expressed fears that she was being targeted, and even speculated that she might die in a car accident. Her relationship with Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian Muslim, was said to be a source of tension within the monarchy, with rumors that her romantic choices were seen as a potential threat to the royal family's public image. Could her death have been orchestrated to protect the monarchy? While no concrete evidence has ever been produced to support this theory, it remains one of the most widely discussed aspects of the case. The royal family's perceived distance and lack of immediate public response following Princess Diana's death further fueled suspicion. For many, the possibility of royal involvement raises deep, unsettling questions about the lengths powerful institutions might go to safeguard their reputation and influence. Number 11. The MI6 involvement. The British intelligence agency MI6 has also been implicated in some theories about Princess Diana's death. Former MI6 officers have claimed that the circumstances of the crash bear similarities to plans for similar operations discussed in the past. This has led to speculation about whether Princess Diana was viewed as a threat to national security. Her global popularity, humanitarian efforts, and outspoken nature set her apart from traditional royal figures, potentially making her a liability to some within the establishment. Could MI6 have seen her as a threat that needed to be neutralized? While these claims are difficult to substantiate, they highlight the darker possibilities of institutional power and control. The idea of intelligence involvement in Princess Diana's death adds another layer of intrigue to the case, suggesting that her tragic end might not have been merely an accident, but part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Number 12. The SAS involvement. Another theory suggests that the Special Air Services, SAS, Britain's elite military unit, played a role in orchestrating Princess Diana's death. This claim emerged when a former SAS soldier alleged that the unit had been ordered to stage the crash. Although these allegations were dismissed by authorities, the lack of a comprehensive investigation into the crash keeps the theory alive. Supporters of this theory argue that the SAS had the capability and the resources to carry out such an operation, making it plausible that they could disguise an assassination as a tragic accident. Could Princess Diana's death have been a high-level operation to eliminate her as a perceived threat? While this idea may seem far-fetched to some, it underscores the extent to which Princess Diana's death continues to captivate and confound those who see answers. The involvement of such a powerful and secretive unit, if true, would raise chilling questions about the intersection of state power and individual lives. Number 13. The autopsy report. Princess Diana's autopsy report has been a subject of controversy for years, with many questioning its accuracy. Critics claim that the report might have been altered or even falsified to align with the official explanation of her death. One major issue lies in discrepancies about the timeline of her death. Some reports suggest that Princess Diana was alive for a significant amount of time after the crash, while others claim she died almost instantly. These conflicting accounts have led people to wonder whether the timeline was manipulated to support a specific narrative. The details of Princess Diana's injuries also raise questions. While the official report lists severe internal injuries as the cause of death, some believe she could have survived with different medical intervention. For example, There are allegations that emergency responders took too long to transport her to the hospital, potentially costing her precious time. If the autopsy report was indeed manipulated, it could indicate a larger effort to conceal the true circumstances of her death. These unresolved issues continue to fuel speculation and distrust among those who believe the official story doesn't add up. Number 14. The witness statements. Eyewitness accounts of the crash offer another layer of complexity, but they've also been the source of controversy. Some witnesses reported seeing bright flashes of light moments before the crash, leading to speculation about the role of photographers or even deliberate sabotage. Others claim to have seen a suspicious vehicle near the scene, but these accounts were largely ignored during investigations. What's even more troubling is that several witnesses have alleged they were pressured to change their stories. For instance, some say they were encouraged to downplay details that didn't align with the official narrative. Others claim their testimonies were excluded altogether. Why would credible accounts be dismissed unless they challenge the desired explanation? If witness statements were manipulated, it suggests an effort to control the narrative surrounding Princess Diana's death. This casts doubt on the fairness and thoroughness of the investigations, leaving many to wonder what these witnesses truly saw and why their voices were silenced. Number 15. The crash site evidence. The handling of evidence at the crash site has raised significant questions. For instance, key pieces of evidence were reportedly tampered with or removed before they could properly be analyzed. Critics argue that this mishandling wasn't merely a mistake, but a deliberate attempt to obscure the truth. One of the most contentious points is the destruction of the car's wreckage. The vehicle was quickly sent for scrapping, making it impossible to conduct a thorough investigation into its condition. There are also allegations that forensic procedures were not followed correctly. For example, debris from the scene was cleared before investigators could fully examine it, potentially erasing vital clues. Some believe the rushed cleanup was an attempt to cover up foul play. Whether this was incompetence or a deliberate act, it's clear that the evidence from the crash site was not handled with the care it deserved. These lapses in procedure only add to the lingering doubts about the official version of events. Number 16. The car's maintenance records. The Mercedes-Benz involved in the crash had a controversial history. Reports suggest that the car had been in several accidents before and may not have been in the best condition on the night of the crash. Some discrepancies in the vehicle's maintenance records have raised concerns about whether it was safe to drive at all. Critics argue that if the car had mechanical issues, it could have